there humans, Dale Kingsmill. I was asked by my university digital media lecturer to make a video on how to do that YouTube thing for his brand new BCM 112 class. So here's a bunch of advice on how to get started on YouTube that you know you can trust, cause I have a degree in it, kind of. First up, the thing that every YouTube video on this subject will tell you, or I hope so anyway, you don't need to be spending any money on this. At the very least, not when you're getting started. You've probably heard it a lot by now, so maybe you won't believe me, but honest to goodness, the camera on your phone is just so good and powerful. We didn't have this when a lot of YouTubers were getting started. So you'll have a bunch of old videos that tell you to get a little point and shoot vlogging camera, especially if you're doing daily vlogs, but I honestly think that this is a way, way better option. Plus, you already got it, presumably. Absolute perfection for daily vlog style channels, but also straight to camera pieces, it works too. My good friend Amy Dallin uses her phone to film almost all of her YouTube content. But I do understand that longing for professional seeming equipment. I started YouTube and wanted to find out what the equipment I would need is. So even though the truthful answer is that you don't need anything, here's some equipment answers for those of you who are longing to dish out some cash. The most important thing, prioritize sound. If you're gonna be spending any money on anything, buy a microphone, not a camera. Your videos are gonna be viewed on a pretty small screen most of the time, so the disparity between good camera quality and really freaking good camera quality isn't gonna make that much of a difference, really. If you do decide to buy a microphone, get the Zoom H1N, not the H4N. The H4N is way fancy and has all these functions and things, all them bells and whistles, but if you're anything like me, you probably won't understand how to use them, and really, seriously, you don't need them. In fact, when I first began using a microphone for my YouTube videos, I was borrowing my uncle's H4N while I waited for my H1N to arrive in the mail. Hello and welcome! Welcome, come in, take a seat. A huge portion of my viewers thought that I'd actually switched from the H1N to the H4N instead of the other way around. Get the H1N. Handy filming equipment tip, when you're recording, you're gonna want it to be at a slightly downward angle so the camera is just a tiny little bit above your eye level. It's just a whole lot more flattering, believe you me. If you're tall like I am and want to do standing videos, you're gonna have to make sure that you get a tripod big enough. But if you're sitting down, not gonna be an issue. Instead of spending all of your hard-earned money on a fancy, shiny, new DSLR camera, the next biggest equipment thing for you to focus on is lighting. This is another thing that you shouldn't need to spend any money on. If you start looking into it, you'll see lots of people talking about things like fill lights and key lights. You don't really gotta worry about that. All that means is that you want light filling the space around you, and you probably don't want it to be coming from one specific point, because then you're gonna get a bunch of weird shadows. Many YouTubers begin to solve this problem by filming facing a window so that the light from it is coming towards you. Take advantage of that daylight, it'll probably work for you. Just make sure that you don't have any light coming from directly behind you.
Dale is just giving us a lesson in quick lighting techniques, apparently.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Nice. You thought you could sneak that in, but
There
we
it is.
totally saw you.
However, if you are pale as the moon itself, like I am, you might end up with some overexposure issues. Whoa, hey son, what's happening? Burn with me. The function that will be the most helpful in that case is the ISO. Basically, it just describes how much light the lens of the camera is taking into it so that it can adjust and make lovely looking colors. A good alternative solution is to just turn on every light you have available. It can be sweaty, sweaty hell in an Australian summer, like it is for me right at this very moment. So sweaty. But it makes the picture look much better. If you are absolutely dying and desperate to spend all of your money on a camera, then the SLR that most YouTubers begin with is this one that I'm using right now. It's the Canon 600D with the kit lens. It can be tricky to find and buy with just the kit lens. A lot of stores now, because it's an older model camera, they try to sell it with the twin kit lens, and a lot of stores will say that they can only sell it with the twin kit. Keep shopping around until you find a place that is only going to sell you the one kit lens, because it's going to be so much cheaper and you don't need the other one. The other one's for like long, fancy sniper photography shots. You don't need that. You don't need that. This is video. Listen up, this part is incredibly important. Your SD cards, they are expensive, so you gotta take care of them. Something I learned the hard way. Every time you finish filming or set up to film, make sure that you go into your camera's functions and format the SD card. Otherwise you end up with this horrible error where the SD card will only be able to film for about 10 seconds at a time. It's the worst. Backgrounds. Backgrounds are important, gang. Make sure you got something interesting behind you, or maybe a little bit of distance so you get a nice focal length thing where you're in focus and the background isn't. When you're thinking about your backgrounds, go watch all your favorite YouTubers and see what their backgrounds look like, see how they do it, and think about how you could achieve something similar. Aha, editing, the bane of my existence. The editing program that you use doesn't matter a whole lot. You can start out just using whatever's already on your computer. The significant thing if you're a Windows user is going to be that lots of things like DSLRs film in a .mov file type, so you need to make sure that you get an editor that can edit .mov file types on a Windows system. Always prioritize your sound when editing. Prioritize sound, always. Make that your mantra. Edit at the sound, not into the sound. This won't make sense until it happens to you, but when you find yourself in that situation where you have to choose between an awkward sound in your edit or an awkward visual in your edit, always take the awkward visual. People won't notice that, but they will notice the popping of an awkward sound cut. Again, check out all your favorite YouTubers and see how they edit, see what you might like to try with your editing style. You've got the Vlogbrothers example where they try to clip everything really short and they jump around the screen a lot in order to make it look more dynamic. You've got the SourceFed style where they zoom in and out to give it more of a flowing feel between their edits. Just shop around, see what you like, see what you like. The biggest editing tip of all, you will stop hating yourself after a couple of months. It is horrible when you begin. The sound of your own voice, the weird little facial tics you're gonna have, you'll hate it, but it does go away. If you want to be able to upload custom thumbnails to your videos, which I highly recommend, you're gonna have to verify your channel first. All this means is attaching your YouTube channel to a phone number. When you do this, I highly recommend you use the voice message, not the text. As far as my experience, the text message may never arrive, and the phone call isn't scary. Or, I mean, it is, just not in the, like, social anxiety way. Scary more in that it's a robot voice that will just give you a string of numbers and be like, 9734. Goodbye. If a group of you want to make a YouTube channel together, there's a function in the settings that you can get into where you add managers to the channel, which means that multiple different people from different accounts will be able to upload to the one channel. Very helpful. The biggest piece of advice that I can give you is to just start uploading videos. This is going to be much easier for the folks in BCM 112 because it's actually part of your criteria if you decide to make a YouTube channel. But this advice goes for everybody. You're not going to get better, you're not going to get happier with what you're doing without uploading videos. While we're on that topic, if you're not happy with the stuff that you filmed, if you think there's way too much footage to edit, if you really don't like the way that you delivered the content, film it again. You can absolutely do that and delete the other footage forever. For probably the first 3 months that I was working for Geek and Sundry, every video that went up on that channel had been filmed by me twice. And even though I'm much more comfortable in front of a camera now, I still do that from time to time. Coming back to it fresh means that you will have gotten some of your nerves out of the way and you'll remember more clearly what you're trying to say. For building an audience, regularity is super important. Try to keep uploading on a specific schedule. It doesn't have to be a tight schedule, it doesn't have to be weekly. You can do it fortnightly or monthly for all I care, as long as you're keeping it pretty consistent. Aha, and regarding building audiences, here's a bunch of YouTube's best practices for making online videos that others may or may not have deigned to share. Supposedly it is best to upload on a Monday or a Thursday as those days have the highest traffic. There's this thing called tent polling, which is really useful if you want to make a video concerning a specific topic or event. It is best to upload your video 2 weeks before that event. You'll want to make a Halloween DIY costume how-to 2 weeks before the 31st. Stats show that people are more likely to click on a video that is under 4 minutes long, so do try to keep your videos short. I am the biggest hypocrite saying that, but do try to. Metadata, this is important. You will have a section in your video for tags that will help the video show up in search results, but also keep an eye on the wording of your video title and the first 4 lines of the video description. All of those words will impact the video's appearance in search results as well. We all started making videos in a really awkward, crappy place. I began with a little point and shoot camera that couldn't hold focus, balanced on a pile of books on top of a dining table chair as I sat on the floor with the chair over my legs with my back up against a really short bookshelf with the angle coming from way down here. Ooh, it's a beautiful sight. Take these rules, try these rules, break these rules. They're not even rules. Why am I calling them rules? I wish you the very best of luck. If you have specific questions to ask, you can leave them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them as best I can or point you to people who might be able to help you better. Again, my name is Dale Kingsmill. You can subscribe to my channel MonarchsFactory, where I make videos every single week. If you enjoyed this video, you know how YouTube works and you know how to show your appreciation with the buttons located around the video. I have links to all my social media accounts in the description below. Apart from that, I do believe that's it. I'm done. Email this to your grandma and I will see you some other time. Maybe your grandma will start making videos. That'd be nice.